So, what are we discussing today? Retailing in the new normal, coping with change, consumers, and competition. The systematic impact of the pandemic on the retail industry continues to reverberate even today, after 2 years. While many formats are on the road to recovery now, the pandemic has irreversibly changed the dynamics of business, principally aspects like organizations' outlook towards change and its ability to manage disruption, consumer expectations, and behaviors and competition. Retailing in the new normal requires looking at change, consumers, and competition from a very different lens and learning to cope with the new demands on all these fronts. With this background, let me take this pleasure to introduce the august panel here today. We have with us Mr. Krishna Pavan, CMD Happy Mobiles, Mr. Madhukar Gangadi, founder and CEO MedPlus Health Services Private Limited, Ms. Muskaan Dadu, partners Dadus, Mr. Surendra Bantia, MD Bantia Furniture, Mr. Niraj Jaipuria, founder and director BIRetail, and Mr. Vikash Hisariya, director Vishal Peripherals. With this, let me start the discussion, friends. And the first question, which is a common question to all my panelists, is what all has changed in retail in your business? Okay, this is the first question. Everybody has experienced change, so have our esteemed panelists, but we would like to reiterate and then set the context. Succinctly, if you can tell me what all has changed in retail in your business. I would start with Vikas. Succinctly in 2 sentences, if you can say what has changed, and then we can take it round by round with other panelists as well. Over to you, Vikas.
So good evening all. In retail, customer expectation has changed. Every day things have changed. So we need to focus on consumer experience is very, very important today. So use of technology with use of today's need is very, very important today.
Okay. Muskaan, what has changed in your context?
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. So at first, of course, there was a lot of health consciousness, a lot of focus on safety at stores and all of the measures and precautions that we were taking. But actually, the lasting impact, as Mr. Vikas has said, and all the other panelists and speakers have repeatedly mentioned, technology and home deliveries are the lasting impact. Now that, I think it's not, the pandemic has aided that, but it has been a lasting impact because people have discovered this as a new convenience. It was Swiggy, Zomato, or whatever aggregators you talk about, they were very much in the market before as well. It's just people resisted that technology, and the pandemic has kind of forced them to adopt that technology. And that's why it is still very much relevant. We are in the last, in the October, November, December quarter, we have done numbers greater than the pre-COVID levels. And the difference is that the mix has changed, where the offline sales were dominating that revenue. Now we see that the online sales are very much an important part that cannot be ignored. And with that come different departments that have become more important that we will talk about as well.
Okay, thanks. Madhukarji, what has changed in your business?
So for us, thankfully not a lot. So business actually bounced back pretty quickly. While definitely the push towards online became more prominent during the COVID times, it actually has come back to almost the pre-COVID levels right now, offline and online mix. And I'm sure, it is a function of the demographic which we have as a customer. Dadu's has a different demographic, and I'm sure Vishal has a different demographic out there. So for us, the older citizen, while he was forced to basically, go online and buy medicines and all, once that got lifted, just has gone back to actually going to the store. So for us, the shift has happened, but like during the, demonetization area in which, everyone almost went up to, buying digital and then went back post that once the money came back to actually going back to normal. It has not come back fully, but I would say it is not as prominent as in some of the other industries, the shift to the online side for us.
Thank you, sir. Krishna, what has changed in your business?
Earlier for us, like mobiles and tablets and gadgets are going to be luxury products. I think with this pandemic impact, it becomes a commodity. Today, work from home, need of the hour, education, Swiggy, Zomatos, whatever you call, I think everything is getting done through a tab or a phone or a laptop. Henceforth, my product has become a commodity today. And the need of the hour is so speed that people can wait for anything. Even they can wait for half an hour of Swiggy delay also. But I think if there is a problem in the phone, they are not even waiting for a minute of time. So our delivery and service to the customer expectations has gone very high on a competitive pricing. These are the two big things which we have seen. And there is a huge amount of fitness freakness happened in every individual. So I don't think so people are wearing today a normal watch. Everybody is into a smartwatch.
Yes. Surendraji, what has changed in your business?
Good evening, friends. While I agree with all my panelists, the things that have changed, and I would not like to repeat, but one thing which I would like to tell my friends, that the perception of customers has changed. Now they are willing to spend the money. When the pandemic ended, I was thinking people will conserve the money and not spend. But what I realized, people want to spend because they don't know what will happen tomorrow, whether they'll be alive or not. So they are willing to spend. They are going to buy luxury sofas, luxury dining tables, luxury cars. I don't know whether my panelists will agree with that or not.
Yes. Excellent. Willing to spend. That mindset has changed, and this is something new. We have done panels across the country, and this one point is standing out, that the consumer is now willing to spend. Niraj, from a tech perspective, what has changed in your business?
So, as an insider to the retail industry, I'll just quote a metaphor that I've seen in the last 2 years. See, firstly, it is human behavior to survive, right? And we've learned that evolution is a very, very slow process. But if you look at the history of evolution, every once in a while, there is a natural occurrence or an event that suddenly accelerates the rate of change, right? In retail, COVID is one of those rare occurrences where things were going to change, but probably would have taken longer. COVID has forced that change to happen quicker. Of course, it's had its side effects. It's had negative impact to most people in the industry. But whether you take online retailing, which almost everybody was planning to adopt, I think COVID got everybody into a scenario where they didn't have the luxury of adopting it over the next 5 years. They had to do it over the next 5 weeks if possible, right? And not just that, I think because the customer has gotten used to sitting at home and trying and buying almost everything that he can, there have been new initiatives that have come thanks to technology. But please understand that technology does not create demand. Technology is only serving a demand that gets created otherwise. So I'll give you an example of social commerce, right? Social commerce was something that was a very nascent and vapor talk pre-pandemic. I think today that is at its inflection point. So the ability for customers to discover and transact in a small screen device like a mobile phone, I think that's changing, and we'll talk more about it.
Sure. Thanks. So, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories here. We have got computers, we have got technology, we have got furniture, we have got food, we have got healthcare, and we have got mobiles. And 7th one is a consumer. So I am a consumer, So taking a laptop from Vikash, who is using Niraj's software, I use Krishna's mobile sitting on the furniture of Mr. Surender and order Dadu's and ultimately go to medical and get the medicine. So that's the way. Absolutely. This is what the positiveness is, but it's overeating. You know, I can't control myself. And and human beings are, you know, people live for food or people eat food for living or whatever it is. But I, you know, if it is recorded, then I'll be politically correct. Otherwise, I live for eating, you know, something like that way. But yes, Dadus will ensure that I don't have to go there, but then the lifestyles, etc. But, you know, this is what has changed, that medicine is something that, you know, we can never compromise on. Similarly, food, we cannot compromise on. But even if I have to compromise on food and medicine, I can 100% agree with Krishna that all of us can never compromise or not live without a mobile. Everybody yes on this floor? Mobile के बिना कौन जी सकता है? कोई नहीं जी सकता है. So Krishna, you are the winner today. But that having said that, I will go to the next. This change that has happened, I will start with now again ladies first. Sorry, I could not start previously. So Muskaan, how are you coping? You know, what are the challenges that are arising from this change, and how have you coped? And again, I would request all the panelists to be, you know, succinct in that in answers. So how are you changing this, coping with this change?
So as I was saying earlier, there's certain departments that need to be strengthened, that have become more important today than they were before. When we talk about where does the consumer journey begin, theoretically there's this term called zero moment of truth, which is basically the first interaction. It is because of the digital media influx. So at that moment itself, there is the first challenge of getting that attention of the consumer. And how do you get that when there's thousands of ads out there? The most powerful marketing tool is word of mouth, and that has been for generations now. Something like a friendly advice is more, people trust that more than a poster that they see anywhere. So your ads have to sound that genuine. They have to sound that honest and sincere. The message has to be, the vocabulary has to be absolutely right, that it hits home with the consumer. So that is one challenge as to how do you make your ads that powerful or that impactful. So that is the first thing. The second, since there's, as a buyer, I can't remember the last time I had physically gone to a store. And it's not only online, you know. There are a lot of buying decisions that are made on phone, or just when there's big buying decisions, it can also happen via email. So there's this customer service department that has become very, very important, that needs to have lightning fast responses, that needs to have all the information about the product. Your staff needs to know the product absolutely thoroughly so that they can educate the consumer and finally crack that sale. So the customer service department has become very, very important today, because you don't really see your consumer anymore. You're interacting with them remotely. Then your payment gateways have to be in place. Then in food, the packaging plays a big role. When your consumer is not coming to your store, the packaging is like the ambience of your store. So what they're actually seeing is just the box that the product is coming in, and that has to talk about your brand, that has to give all the information about probably there's other products that they have missed out on, and that everything has to be explained in that one bag or one box of your product. And finally, logistics is going to develop as a huge department, because the consumer doesn't want to come anymore, and you have to make your product available wherever they are, be it in the same city, in the same state, in the country, or even globally. So logistics will come up as a big department, and these are a few areas that we need to give more resources to and turn them into our assets.
Yeah, before I come to Vikash, logistics, packaging, and I think the discoverability part that you spoke about initially. Initially, what was your first point?
There's marketing.
Marketing, yeah. So customer service. Customer service, packaging, and logistics are the three key areas. Vikash, from your business perspective, can you please throw that?
Three T's are very important for us. That is truth, transparency, and trust.
Sir, all of them are abstract. But so I'm just telling you that then it's an integral part of all the businesses. Truth, transparency, and trust. But apart from that,
So then how we project, how we again do projection on that internally, and then how we process it.
how we process it. So core ethos, he started with truth, transparency, and trust, which is the core of any business. And if you stick to that, then definitely you are going to take your business to the next level. But the process part that you mentioned is something which is very important in today's world. Can you throw some light on the process? Because process is something which will make or break the overall thing. Because visions, PowerPoint presentations, all those is fine. But how do you put it into practice? And I have personally been to Vikas's store and I have seen it and experienced it. So that's why I'm asking him to elaborate on the process part. Vikas, can you please elaborate?
Process should be seamless. It should be smooth and equal to all. So the moment you enter the store, there should be someone to ask you, to greet you, and to take care of you. And to be specific on what you need. We need to take you to the right place of what you need. Customer is having little time with him. He will see how fast he can do his things. But from his little time, how can we convert that to his pleasure buying system? That is very important. So what we do in our new store is, the moment customer walks in, along with his family also, actually computer buying was never a family buying experience. In our new store, it's actually a consumer family buying experience. They can come along with their complete family. Kids can play games over there. There are no charges for the games. Family can decide the equipment what they want to buy. And everything is so transparent. Whatever they want to buy, we need to make sure that they try before buy.
Okay.
So this all factors are very, very important. Along with this, what we have done, suppose there's a person who walks inside the store and there's one more person who's going to, is a deciding factor, he's at home. Now both can collaborate together and decide. We have virtual buying system also. With both the system, which is unique in India right now in our store, at least in IT, with both the system, they have a different buying experience.
Okay.
So all this put together helps us to take these things to different lead. And this is consumer experience, what we are trying to build, which is successfully launched and working very well.
Thank you, thank you. Krishna, in your case, you are dealing with a category which is indispensable kind of a thing, which people can't live without. How have you coped up with the challenges that, you just mentioned?
We have actually took three quick changes inside the system. One is man-to-man marking and with an emotion towards that. And then we did a social media mela. So generally people do a lot of marketing elements at the floor level to the nearest places, everything. I think now the shift has took towards the digital platform. So in man-to-man marking with emotion, what we did, we have almost now 1 million customers with us and we have almost 1,400 employees with us. So we have categorized all the customers to the respective one-to-one mapping with the employees so that on every new arrival, every need, now the customers are in one touch to the employees. So this has enabled them to create a Wi-Fi cluster. So my employees are Wi-Fi to that all the customers. So we made this one level of implementation, and the technology has helped us a lot. We have used the best CRMs, and one of the best CRM is Paytm MLoyal, what we are using right now, has actually enabled us to go to that extent. And the second one is social media mela. Why I said it is social media mela, because earlier we used to see the hangouts and the reels and videos and the mastis on the floors. I think now that's the time to see it on digital. So we are there and everywhere.
Category has grown. In India also it has grown. Is it true in your case as well?
Immediately after the lockdown was open, then we had a team meeting, and then everyone said, who is going to buy furniture today? Everyone is only worried about their bread, butter and medicine. Furniture would be the last category. But then one of the team members said, sir, 1.5 months I have been in my house. I have slept in the same bed, and otherwise I used to sleep only 6 hours. Now I slept for 8 hours, 10 hours. I used the sofa which I was not using. I used the dining table which I used to hardly use for 1 hour. I use the chair which I never used to do it. Hence, there is a lot of wear and tear I want to change. So we realized that this is an opportunity. So we thought, why not use all the media to advertise our furniture? Then one of the persons said, you advertise, but who is going to come? Everyone is scared. Then we said, why not? We will have a video conference. We had put numbers. People used to call and we used to take them to a virtual store. And then that's how the sale started.
Okay.
So what I see always is there is always opportunity in adversity.
Opportunity in adversity. And again, second positive point from Surinder ji. Thank you, Surinder ji. Now we go to Madhukar ji, and you are in a category which all of us in this room, cater to. I may not, and obviously yours also. Yeah, emergency. But medicine is something that is the core. How have you coped up with the challenges that have come? Before that, there was in the previous panel also we had heard that, and there is a common perception, if you can, throw some light there, that this healthcare as a facility, or at least medicine and pharmacies, they have not, they have, made hay when sun shines kind of a thing during the COVID times. But one of the panelists had said, okay, it's not the truth. So, because everybody knows that medicine as a category is always an evergreen category. So, first, is that truth, sir, about that part? It's a...
No, I'm pretty sure that's the common perception.
Yeah.
But the fact is, it is not. Because while there was a huge need for, stuff like sanitizers and masks in the first time, and after that, people started asking for pulse oximeters and other devices out there. The second time around, there were some medications and all. The third time when it came around, there's almost no need for anything at all except for, Dolo. So, but what this did was, while sales went up for these kinds of things, sales also dropped for a lot of the elective stuff. Hardly anyone was going to the doctors for any elective procedure, and they were not getting admitted in the hospitals at all. So most of the other stuff was not getting really sold. Some nutraceuticals got sold and all. So while, let us say, there was some price gouging in the first part when people sold masks for outrageous prices and sanitizers for also ridiculous prices and all, and that led to a lot of new stores coming in and everything else. I don't think that lasted very long, and I'm pretty sure most of them are basically right now in the process of shutting down and all. So all in all, for us, sales went up in one side, sales came down in the other side, and cost of running the store was ridiculously high during the first phase of the overall COVID, where people were just not willing to come to the store at all, and they were definitely not willing to be in touch with patients who would otherwise have COVID and all. So it was a hard time just getting the stores open and selling a little bit. So all in all, I would say it evened out. Luckily for us, we always were open, and so we, kind of did not lose too much, I would say. We were pretty much even.
And from a competition perspective, online, offline, how did that affect your business?
So we have been online for a long time, since 2015 right now. So for us, the online obviously picked up, and as it did for the guys who have been online for the last 5 years, the other pure play online guys. But as I said earlier, the demographic which we serve did not really take to the online too much, and it steadily dropped after the COVID phase and all. People started coming back to the stores. So while the jump was there, I think the competition is way too high. There were more than enough people willing to spend a lot of money advertising. As you all know, it is not just enough to be, online or offline or whatever it is. You also have to get the word out. For us, the business has always been offline. Online is one other channel which we look at. It grew, but I would say the huge increment which one would expect did not come, because there were a lot of players who just came in immediately after the COVID.
This question I would like to ask to everyone. What percentage of sales would be online and offline? So we can start with this. Out of 100, let's say 20, 30, 10, 15, 2, 5% is online, rest is offline, so on and so forth. So just one number, online and offline, that's it.
30-70, 30 is online, 70 is offline.
So for computers, 30% is online and 70% is offline. Furniture?
Furniture as such was initially never an online buy. And only a small item like 2,000 rupee shoe rack or 3,000 rupee chair used to be sold. But as the things have progressed, now people are buying worth till about 20, 25,000,
Okay.
but not more. So now, on an average, now it has gone up to about 30%, 70%.
30, 70 again, 30 online, 70 offline. For you, Dadu's food?
For us specifically, for our organization, because we have a large segment that is service. It's not just retail. We do a lot of customization. There's a lot of gifting and all of that. People come for, wedding shopping and all of those things. So service is also a big segment which cannot be taken online. There's a lot of personalization of service,
Yes.
personalization in that transaction. So online remains to be a small percentage, less than 10%, I would say. Yeah.
So in food, at least Dadu's less than 10% is online, rest is offline.
That is very specific to our organization. There's food, a lot of companies are doing purely online.
You are right.
Yeah.
That's a different business model, yes. Sir?
Yeah, for us also, since it's not a very easy buy. When you want to buy medicines, you have to actually have an approved prescription and everything else. And you have to search for the right, product out there. So hence, there is always going to be a little bit of friction out there. For us, before COVID, it was around 7 or 8. At COVID, it went slightly above 10, and then again it slipped back.
And Krishna, for you?
We have actually made the classification into 3 dimensions. One is pure retail store, another is O2O, which comes in order or browse in online and then shop in offline, and a pure online. So O2O and online contributes 12 to 14% on an average, and the offline contributes 80% plus.
So around 2080, that's the thing. Next 2 questions would be one on technology and one on strategy. So from a technology perspective, Niraj, this question is to you. How have you seen retail industry and retailers per se adopting to this technology change? Or you can give us what technological changes they've adopted more from a innovation or mindset perspective also, because the biggest block is the mindset block rather than finance or tech or company or brand or service or XYZ. So you can throw some light there from a tech perspective.
Hello. I'll take 2 quick examples of technology that I've seen evolved over the last 2 years. The concept is not new, but technology adaptation has happened at a rapid pace. So Muskaan spoke about customer of one. Let's take that. It also ties into the concept of O2O. This is something that has happened or accelerated to a large amount in COVID. Customers who browse online and then buy offline. So how does the concept, this customer of one concept tie in here, and how does technology help that, right? One big advantage of having a web presence or an online digital presence is when your customer comes online, even if he does not transact, the moment he comes online to your app or to your website, you have the ability technically to actually capture the identity of the person who's come online, right? Which is a challenge in offline. So technology now, and this whole concept of customer of one, is we are enabling retailers to identify that segment of customers who are browsing online, looking at what options they look at online, because every move they make is actually being tracked, and then tying it back to an offline transaction that has happened of the same customer. And because technology has spread well enough, it enables a retailer to do this seamlessly, which was earlier a big challenge. So while this was there, it has gotten accelerated and now adopted very, very rapidly. So this is on the customer side. Vikas mentioned something about process. So, I spoke about it briefly. I mentioned it in my talk, that we have a technique called transactive analytics. Now, this is something on the process side. As a retailer, we are handling 500 problems every day, right? And
it is like juggling multiple balls in the air. The challenge is to be, in an ideal scenario, we would like to address each and every problem, solve it, and make sure the cycle goes through, the action goes through, right? But it's a Herculean challenge because of the number of issues that we are handling. So technology, specifically this technique called robotic process automation, is now becoming widely accepted with retailers, where every action that you want to take, you are initiating that action through a technology, and it does two things. One is it automates the initiation of the action. Let's take an example that a merchandiser wants to send certain goods from the warehouse to a particular store, right? What does he do? He actually opens an email and copies some 5 SKUs, pastes it into the email, and he says, please send this to this particular store. Now imagine if you've got 20 stores or 200 stores and you want to send a plethora of like 20, 30, 50, 100 items to each of that. How many emails is a category head or a merchandiser going to copy and paste, right? So this is this entire process where you look at a report. While looking at a report, you're taking a decision saying, I want to send these 3 things to that store, those 5 things to this store. You're just ticking it off on a report and clicking a button, and that button, like magic, is actually sending out those 200 emails in the back end. So this is processifying something that can so easily be done by a machine. It doesn't stop there. What the technology does further is tracking. After you send that email, you expected 20 pieces of this item to go from the warehouse to this particular store. Today is the 9th of March. You say it takes an average of 2 days or 3 days time for it to actually transact. So the technology is keeping track of every such action that you initiated. On 12th of March, without telling anybody, without bothering anybody, the technology is going to check whether this action actually got enacted or not. So essentially it's very simple. It's saying that if 20 pieces were supposed to go, 3 days later you're checking whether 20 pieces reached the store. And if it has not reached the store, you can define, and it starts creating an escalation process where it says, on 9th March, Niraj asked to send 20 pieces. Today is 12th March, Niraj, please pay attention. And if it still hasn't gone, then, on 15th March, it can send the next email to Niraj's boss, and so on, essentially. So if you're sending out 20,000 emails, your actual impact to business is when as many of those 20,000 actions get done. But who has the time to do it, because you're sending out 20,000 emails every day. So this process of automation, these are 2 examples where I think technology is helping.
Thanks, Niraj. Vikash, you have used technology and I have seen that. Can you give that example of how you are using technology to service your customers?
So technology, I can say, is an enabler actually for lots of things. So let me start with the payment mode. Previously, we used to collect lots of cash. For collecting cash, again, cashier required, and lots of tensions are there. Today, my 80-85% payment is through UPI or credit card or some internet payments. So my dependency on my cashier is come down like anything. Same way, technology helps us to build loyalty program with customers, which builds us to have reordering process with customers. This technology helps us to reconnect with customers. Like this, all those parameters are there, and technology only help us to rethink what is required from our side. We can find out ourselves with customer views and all, like social media has become so active, influencers have become so active that their one comment, even they are putting negative comment, that helps us to correct ourselves. Previously, we used to depend on internal feedbacks. Now, whole world is open and they are blunt on our face that this is what you are. And this helps us to correct a lot. So we are using technologies today, and this is helping us and our customers, might be through virtual buying system or through e-commerce system, or all this are helping us to grow. Thank you.
Okay. This question is particularly to Dadu's and Madhukar ji about the strategy part. What is your key strategic priority? Currently, from a strategic priority that Dadu's has to do XYZ, at a strategic level, what is your priority today?
I think the footprint that you have in the market is speaks a lot about what market share that you can have. And that is going to be the strategy, you know, that you can do this much business from one store, but if you just double that up, triple that up, and that's the most direct way to, you know, expand, like boost your top line. And of course, you have to maintain your bottom line with it. It's just, then in that case, having the experience of the last 30 years, we have been able to maintain a certain bottom line. You know, we've had nicely controlled operations wherein, you know, it's been fairly controlled for the bottom line. So it's just the top line that if that moves proportionally, the bottom line will move. So it's the footprint
that you are looking at. So as a strategy to expand growth, because they have got processes which will take care of the bottom line, so profits, etc. will come, but it's the more we grow, by default, obviously the profits also will come in. Sir, Madhukar ji, what is your priority from a strategic perspective?
Very similar to what Ms. Muskaan said. So today we have 2,500 stores across 7 states, and the platform has been built over 7 years, over 15 years now. Of course, you know, while we have a reasonable size, it is still a very small portion of the overall pharma industry, and our goal is to, you know, grow as fast as possible across these 7 states and possibly more. You know, there are, you know, different businesses out there. Ours is a multi-brand retail business. It's somewhat like a commodity business. You know, people come to us with their prescriptions. They come month on month, and what they're looking for is the best possible price out there. So 60-70% of our business comes from repeat buyers who are extremely price sensitive, and necessarily so, you know, because the product which we offer, while it is while we offer great service and, you know, while we guarantee genuine medicines and all, that alone is not enough. People are looking for the best price, and a lot of times that can be achieved only with scale. And so our you know, pursuit of this scale is you know, is always there. And the goal for us, the immediate goal, is to basically double and triple in size.
Taking this question ahead, pursuit for scale, that is one. So when it comes from a scale perspective and growth perspective, this is just a question that came in my mind about diversification. You know, are you looking for some diversification, whether concentric diversification, conglomerate diversification, or you just want to carry on in this line only and, you know, grow the number of stores or get into new products, new linings, or new areas of business as a company?
Of course. See, well, focus is great. You still have to, you know, cover your flanks. You know, medicines are, you know, not sold in a, medicines are part of the overall outpatient, you know, care of a, you know, patient out there. The other two things are consulting, which is, you know, you go to a doctor to consult. And that, because technology has made it possible for people to do teleconsult and all, makes it possible for someone like us to actually get involved. And the other part is the diagnostics part. So the 3 components would be, you know, doctor visit, a diagnostic thing, and the pharmacy. And right now, all these 3 things are coming together. There will be several people who will come. They're not there already, but, you know, I'm sure this will all converge. So for us, it becomes extremely important to make sure that we own the patient completely. It is not just enough to serve him when he comes to a store, but it is actually important for us to basically track him from the time he goes to a doctor and goes to a diagnostic center and then basically comes to us. So we are now present in all the 3, and the goal, of course, would be to scale that too along with the stores.
Own the customer, excellent strategy, that A to Z. For example, this panel owns me completely, you know, as I gave you the example. Similarly, from what Madhukar ji is telling, that own the customer right from the doctor visit, diagnostic, and then the medicines, you are there completely with him. And
What is customer need? Reading it every day, solving it every day, giving it every day.
yeah, Niraj, you also please.
Yeah, I'll finish with all the retail assets.
Okay.
Oh, he is the boss.
Agreed.
The final word. My mantra has always been that enjoy your business. And if you are enjoying the business, you will do everything for the business. So that should be the philosophy. Enjoy your business, and if you don't enjoy, shut it off.
Okay, Muskaan.
My mantra as a young retailer is to really look out and listen, read, and be aware about everything that's happening across industries, some innovation that is happening in a different industry. And if you are the first one to find an application for it in your industry, you will be the pioneer for it. So that is my mantra.
Madhukar ji.
So, for a business which is almost like commodity, I would say it is still brand, right? For me, it doesn't matter what it is, whether, so our brand is that we are the best value provider out there. We make sure that we are always the best value provider. And someone else's maybe they're the best tasting or the best looking or best whatever. But in the end, you will basically live and die by what you are known for. And as long as you can build something which people value, people will come. So that brand would be the key thing, no matter, whether it's 2 years or 20 years, that should be the thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Madhukar ji. Krishna.
So as our brand name is Happy, we always keep something in emotion in our mind. So as slightly said, Bandia ji, we believe in happy price, happy deals, and happy experience. So these are the three things which I believe internally, externally, and psychologically also. So we always make sure our price is on par to the online or offline or competition. Our deals are better than anybody across the table. Here also I can bet on it. And our experience to the customers will make a lot of difference. We just added two emotional experiences to the people. I just want to share it here so that a couple of people can take it and take it forward also. Everybody takes the contacts, informations from everything. So we took the customer's date of birth and enrolled them with Akshay Patra Foundation. On their birthdays, we send a video of the customer, the beneficiary child, who has actually got the midday meal benefit of the customer. They'll send a video by saying that on behalf of your birthday, we got this meal on behalf of you, and all my love and wishes to you, and have a wonderful day and a year ahead. This small connect will change the emotion between the customer and the brand, and as well as the connectivity. And it's very small cost to anybody it happens, but the emotion what carries makes a difference. And second thing what we did today, we can proudly say that we are the richest, or we are the biggest database in Andhra and Telangana to have more than 1 lakh blood groups registered in our blood bank. It's only the customer blood group who have actually brought from us, and we can give the contacts of more than 100 plus in every pin code when there is a need to the respect to customers.
Very
So
nice.
these
Big
two
hand to
things-
Krishna. Thanks, Krishna. Last, Niraj, your mantra.
So the reason I said I'll go last is because we heard all the retailers, and I will only say that for every retailer here, start taking business decisions based on data. All the retailers had different mantras. Each and every mantra can actually fructify if you start taking decisions based on data. This is not because I come from this industry, but I've spent a fair amount of time, and I've seen that while technology can make a lot of difference in different ways to your business, we say that the customer is king, but data-driven decision making is the low-hanging fruit, right? So with that, you can even actually make the same difference that you want to do towards your customer. Thank you.
Thank you, Niraj. I think time's up. I'll just summarize this in 5-6 points that our colleagues and the esteemed August panel has given. One is enjoy your business. Look, listen, read across the industries. Brand, okay, be a value provider. So obviously brand is the core of everything. Happy, and I am putting happy in bracket. Price, deals, and experience. So as a businessman, you'll have to ensure that you continue servicing him and giving the best of the services that he can get across. Excellent strategy to to be present across the value chain. Krishna, what is your strategic priority?
We have actually made a small change in our overall platform of doing business. Earlier we used to sell good amount of mobile phones, so we entered into a platform called is like entertainment, education, and all the needs of the people. So we are now into having the same size of the store. We are increasing by 50% of the throughput per store with adding laptops, TVs, and other gadgets in the same store. So that has enabled us to have good amount of footfall walk-ins inside the system. Top line has grown, bottom line has improved, and overall we are on a positive direction.
The power of E. Surendraji, what would be your strategy, sir?
Uh, I think the technology is the future. Initially, we were of the opinion that furniture will never adopt to technology. But today, we are the gold-rated sellers on Flipkart, Pepperfry, and Amazon. And one incident that stands out is one of these aggregators, I think it was Flipkart, they called up my team and they said, you have this particular chair, how many numbers? So my person asked me, he said, they are asking me numbers. I said, okay, go ahead, we have about 1,500 numbers. They said, are you sure you have 1,500 numbers? I said, yes, we have that kind of stock. So can you block it for a day? I said, yeah, sure, why not? Anyway, I'm not going to finish it for a day. Yeah. Then they had a big billiard day sale and they called me up. They said, Mr. Bantia, you normally will not open the dashboard and see, but we want you to open and keep it. And that was big billiard day. That product sale was between night 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, which was very, very uncomfortable time for me. But because they said, I said, let me see. And it was like a casino, numbers falling, tuck, 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 order booking all over India. And within 59 minutes, they could sell 1,000 chairs. Wow. Awesome. Which I think I wouldn't have been able to sell if I would have only focused offline. So what I feel is your competitor is also, will help you in growing the business. So your competitor, don't think that your competitor will destroy you. It will always help you in business. That is my thinking.
Third positive thing, your competition will help you to grow, okay, rather than destroy. Excellent positiveness and assertiveness, Bantia ji. 59 minutes and 1,000 chairs. This is an awesome number. If at all, if I had to sell that 1,000 chairs for a layman or for a smaller shop, how much time it would have taken, Bantia ji?
Again, depends upon the number of stores. So each day you would sell about 15 to 20 chairs. So you have got about 15 stores. So it would take that kind of time.
That kind of time. And here you are talking about 59 minutes, 60 minutes. Okay. सालों का महीनों में, महीनों का हफ्तों में, हफ्तों का दिनों में और दिनों का मिनटों में काम हो जाता है. That's what technology does, okay, to our businesses. And last, Vikash, what is your strategic priority?
Yeah. Our priority is, when I came inside, I heard a word from MD of Niraj that you should be represented and you should not tell who you are. And people should recognize you by your brand. So now we have started thinking on that and surely we will be working on that.
People should recognize by your brand. This is in one line, एक line में विकास जी ने महाभारत कह दी है. ब्रांड हो गया मतलब सप्लाई चेन, कस्टमर, टेक्नोलॉजीज, पैकेजिंग, प्रिंटिंग, सब कुछ आ गया उसमें. बट येस, दैट्स व्हाट इट इज. यू हैव टू मेक योर ब्रांड एंड दैट्स हाउ पीपल विल रिकॉग्नाइज यू. आई हैव गॉट 2.5 minutes to go and this is a question for all my panelists. 3, 2 or 1 mantra. What is your mantra, or let me say, what is it that you are suggesting or telling the audience out here that this should be the mantra going ahead? Or you can say, this is my mantra. So either you are telling that this is my mantra, or you can say, okay, these are the 3 mantras which I feel can be useful in today's context. And I want to keep this today's context is only for 2022, sir. 4 years, 3 years, 5 years, horizon planning वो सब नहीं करना है. आज के 6 महीने या 1 साल के अंदर वो कौन सा मंत्र है that will help my business grow? Again, I will start with Vikash ji and will end with Krishna. 3, 2, 1. Any mantra, any number of mantras you want to say?
Connecting with customer is the only mantra what I have. That is 100%.
Control your price, you control your dealings, and obviously the overall experience for the consumer, both internally and externally within the organization, outside as well, and experience to the customer. Again, a repetition, but this is the core, that what experience you give, hard, happy, or maybe, rigid. Nobody gives, nobody intends to, but happy is the word which fits the bill, and that happy customer experience. Emotions makes a difference. So if you want to change your business, get emotions into it, because ultimately human being is a psychological, emotional animal, so we all go by emotions. And last but not the least, please take data-based decisions. So this is the crux and the mantra for given by our August panel here today. On behalf of RAI, I thank all of you for being, sharing all your wonderful insights. It was pleasure talking to you. While talking to each one of you, I came across so many questions, which we wanted to ask, but we'll take that up in the near future or maybe a distant one, but we'll keep in touch. Thank you, audience. If somebody wants to ask one question, because that was something that came outside that, there should be one question answer session as well. So we can take just one question because time's up. Otherwise, I'll be more than happy to end this and, move to the final part of the evening. So with this, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.